For second, Ken Prather on the outside, Tom Reichenbach, both former winners. This battle might become the battle for the win with Baca moving on. But Kevin Allen, pole sitter from last year, is back. He's up front again. Jeep production next on Speed Vision. Runoffs for the national championships here at Mid-Ohio. Coming at you is the battle for G production. I'm Greg Kramer, joined by Dorsey Schrader. Sandy Heng, Guy Hobbs will be patrolling the pits for us in this one. And Dorsey, we want to get right to what this class is all about. These cars, as they start to roll off here, have to start as a production car, but from then it's pretty wide open.
And this is just about all of the sports cars you ever saw in your life. There's Triumph Spitfires, Fiat X19s, Datsun 510s, there's MG Midgets, there's Austin Healey Sprites, Hondas, Volkswagen Rabbits, Alfa Romeos. I mean, it's just everything you ever saw is in here. These are really good race cars, and this is going to be a really good race.
Puts on a great show every year. Now our pole sitter is, as I said, Kevin Allen. He was the pole sitter last year, and just a couple of moments ago, Sandy Heng caught up with him down on the pre-grid.
Kevin Allen has had a terrific year so far. 4 poles, 4 victories. He actually placed 3rd at the Runoffs back in 1998. But last year was a tough year. He was leading the race until about 7 laps to go. The differential broke. And I know, Kevin, that you're hoping this will be your year, but we've got this rain on the way.
Well, you know, it's sort of one of those deals. I'm really good in the rain on slicks, but it's so wet right now, I'm afraid to start the race that way. So we're going to start on rains, and if my experience holds true here in 98, I was able to finish 2nd on slicks in the rain, but I couldn't win. So I'm going to take the gamble this year and go out on the rains and hope I can find enough water to keep the tires under me.
Okay, and he's got a nickname for this little Spitfire, nicknamed Truman.
So he's hoping it'll be the Truman Show this weekend. Let's take a look as we watch them out on their pace and parade lap. Let's take a look at the starting grid. As I said, Kevin Allen on the pole once again, put together a great run. Tom Reichenbach, former champion, on the outside of the front row, and Jeff Winter right behind Allen in the Datsun 510. He's very concerned about those two cars. They have much more grunt off the corners, he said. He thinks they may be leading going into turn 7. He's quicker elsewhere. 4th is Costley. Kevin Dennis is 5th. 6th, George Bachman. I'll tell you, this guy's 5 wins in Central Division this year. He's a little further back than he wanted. Ken Prather struggled early in practice and qualifying in the old MGA, but he has come on. He's a former champion. And then in 10th is Dan Huntsman. Now we take a look a little bit deeper in the grid. Dorsey, there's a couple of guys you have to watch out for here. Mark Webber, with this rain, he's such an experienced driver. Chris Krisenberry and John Snow, those 2 cars are good. Kevin Gilbert, that number 98, that's the Alpha that Tom Menken took to 3 national championships. In the wet, that car hooks up.
Well, I'll tell you, some of these grids that you see over these next several days are going to be kind of upside down backwards in some cases, because over the course of the week, it rained. Sometimes it was dry. Some people got the benefit of a dry track to qualify on. Some people didn't get out in time, got into the wet. So it's a mixed up grid, but this race here is going to be fantastic, I think.
I think it will be absolutely one of the best of the event, perhaps. And again, Kevin Allen, his car, because it is the classic G-Prod car, the older Roadster, is a little bit lighter. Doesn't have quite the engine. The other cars, the Fiat, has some serious grunt, but it has to carry a little bit more weight. That's why he said on the straight, on the launch, it's going to be tough for him to lead going into 7, but he's got his work cut out for him.
But the rain might help him, Greg, because he has less horsepower, and because it is wet and slippery, he might be able to get the traction where the higher horsepower cars might spin the wheels. We'll have to see.
And Sandy Heng, Kevin was talking about when you talked to him earlier, do I go out on slicks, do I go out on range? With the conditions right now, a lot of drivers must be scratching their heads.
Well, that is the big gamble right now. There are 4 drivers that are betting is going to dry off on the track, and they've got slicks set up. Number 23, Mark McAllister, watch him. Also number 45. Now, Jed has an interesting situation, number 45. He has a front-wheel drive car, so if the track does dry off, he's on the slick setup, and he could move forward fairly quickly. Also, number 16, Larry Dennis, and number 8, Lana Bradbury. So you've got 4 drivers out there betting it's going to dry off pretty quickly.
That's a great gamble to take because right now the skies are as light as we have seen them in some time. Another guy could be fun to watch early. Back in the pack just a little bit, qualified 25th, Dave Hammer drives the VW Rabbit. Front drive in that thing should be very effective in the wet as well. Now when they come around again, they get the start here on the backstretch here in Mid-Ohio to give these cars room. Bob Cage from the Washington, D.C. region will be throwing them that green flag. Boy, the field, the top four road course look all right now. The rest of the pack starts to come on.
Remember, Kevin Allen thinks he's going to get jumped on the start, so he's going to look for a good start. There goes the Fiat Reichenbach around the outside. He's got the run.
He's got the grunt, exactly what Allen predicted. Now he has parked the winner behind him, but look at the other Fiat coming on here as well. That's Fritz Kossley, and he actually got around winner and slotted into third.
Well, the guys in the little Datsun 510s, they're the happy ones. They're in there in a dry sedan with the windshield wipers on while these guys up front. And here comes the pole sitter.
Boy,
having a look.
Up through the S's, Allen, you can already see the agility of that car. And there's number 14, Bachman, buried a little bit further back in the pack. He and Prather side by side, and we have a new leader already. That is Kevin Allen. This is what he said he needed to have happen. He needed to get out front fairly quickly so that the power of those cars won't let them run him back down again. Well, he's done it.
He said he likes the rain on slicks. That is surprising. He's on rain tires, so he's got maximum grip. If he's worried about the tires going off, then he needs to extend his lead right now.
Yeah, he needs to build it up because he could be in trouble. I saw Ken Prather taking a run on one of the Datsun 510s and got the door firmly shut. There's Ken, the first white car at the back of the screen. There he is, a beautiful MGA. Bachman's right behind him. And look at this, 2-3 abreast. That's Mark Webber.
Yeah, Mark Webber running up the inside there, inside that Volkswagen, and he doesn't have a lot of grip there. Volkswagen gets more. These front-wheel drive cars are starting to come to the front already.
And look at this, we have a new second place. Fritz Kossley, driving the Advanced Automotive Services X19, went around Reichenbach and has picked up second spot. So Fritz qualified fourth. A superb start here. He was fifth in the Central Division, didn't have a win, but a slew of podium finishes, and now we see why. Look at that. There is Prather still trying to figure out a way around Kevin Dennis in that number 30 Datsun, number 80 machine, excuse me.
Nope, you were right, it's the 30. Anyway, the outside, you see the different rain line right there. Prather going on the dry line on the inside. It's hard to get grip there. The 510 runs the classic rim shot, the rain line around the outside.
Well, meanwhile, look at that big wiggle there. And I think I got it wrong. That car right there, right behind Prather, that is the guy who qualified third, Jeff Winter. He slipped back just a little bit. And then Kevin Dennis now is in the red, white, and blue Datsun 510. So Kent Prather, though, has worked his way around one of the cars, and Sandy Prather, once he's found some lines on this track, is starting to hook up.
Well, when all of the drivers were huddled on the false grid, many of them gathered around him because they all remembered him winning here in 1995 in the rain, and they were teasing him. This may be your year with a wet track, and it looks like he is moving forward, and some of that prognostication from his fellow drivers may be coming true.
But Sandy, your call on the tire choice here, I think it's going to be huge because I don't see rain anywhere around this track. And Dorsey, the spray is going away in a big hurry. And those drivers that did opt for the slicks might be in pretty good shape here. There's number 26, Ken Prather. But want to show you something that happened in that opening lap. Qualified 28th, Ron Elkhorn's in his Chevrolet Chevette. Look at this moment here. Watch him on the inside there.
Oh,
it's not done. It's not done.
The old tank slap.
Oh, there he goes. He fought it for as long as he possibly could, but not enough. But the battle up front's coming on. Kevin Allen leads it, but Fritz Kossley, that orange Fiat X19, coming on early in G production. Have a new leader. Fritz Kossley has gone around Kevin Allen, picked up the point. We have a new leader in G production here at the Valvoline Runoffs at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and Kossley has driven a brilliant opening sequence of laps.
You know, we talked at the beginning about the front-wheel drive. We didn't talk about the Fiat, which is a mid-engine. It's got the engine sitting right over the rear transaxle. It's a rear-wheel drive, but it has a lot of rear traction. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. This car really hooked up in the wet.
Well, but it also has pretty decent balance, too, doesn't it? I mean, that's huge in the wet.
It does. I mean, it's truly a mid-engine car, but, you know, you look at that grip and you look at how much tire and wheel spin you get. Well, this car, almost like a Porsche, has all of its weight sitting on the drive wheels, as a front-wheel drive car usually does, too. but it still handles like a rear-wheel drive car.
And Kent Prather now has found his way up into the top 3 in a medal position. He's back of these guys just a little bit, but nonetheless, good run for him, and he is so good in the wet. But right there, you saw Kevin Allen now starting to drive much more the normal racing line around here. The grip seems to be there.
That surprises me, too, because the leader isn't driving. He is running a rain line. You saw him run completely outside the concrete patches, I think. Well, right here, you have to intersect through it, so he won't be able to do it totally. But he's got the right side tires out there on the outside.
Now, we mentioned that Costley, while we were in... Allen! Oh, and he broke!
He broke
the left rear suspension snapped, and man, he just went around. I wonder if it broke or if he clipped the curb.
Well, I'll tell you what, that whole rear tire, he's lucky he didn't get upside down because it buckled up underneath there. Left rear corner completely failing on that car, and I don't see any mark around the fender, so it was a chassis failure for sure.
Boy, something that just sudden traumatic failure. I'm going to let go, but let's go back for just a moment and take a look at Costley's pass for the lead. Turn 1.
Exit at turn 1 gets a good run going right there. And I think he's just going to carry that momentum. Yeah, he is. He's using horsepower. He just muscles his way up the outside, headed up toward the S's.
Boy, and Allen, what a professional job giving him the room to let that happen here. Now let's take a look at what happened to Allen. Well, I wonder if...
Well, there it goes. It's broke already. We saw it had too much negative camber when we first saw it going backwards. Then, of course, it snaps, goes the other way. So something in that rear corner lets go.
There's obviously no damage to the bodywork on that side, so over the rise in 11, he didn't get the wall or anything like that, so it must have just let go.
Yeah, something broke on the rear corner, and in the wet, you don't expect things like that, but that's the way it goes.
Well, Kevin Allen's incredible, unfortunate luck here at the Runoffs continues. 4 wins this year. I mean, in the past, he has won so many races, but it just will not seem to happen for him here at Mid-Ohio. But for Fritz Costley, the Advanced Automotive Services X19, he's got it going. But look at this. Kent Prather, that MGA, is second and clawing.
Kent Prather in the rain won that with that car, and here he comes. He's making up ground. I don't see a lot of spray coming out from underneath these cars, so it is going to start drying pretty quickly here.
You know, he has 3 times, Prather has been a champion in his class. He did finish 3rd last year to that great battle, but this is, as they said, maybe his year if these conditions stay like this.
Well, this old MG, it drives the straightaways pretty good. It gets down there, and so the corner speeds are all, of the handling cars are all lower because of the rain. This car comes to the front.
Now, obviously, if it stays dry or dries and continues to dry like this, everybody on rain tires are going to have to be doing some hunting, looking for some water to keep those tires alive. There's Reichenbach, currently sits in the 3rd spot.
Look on the track itself, and you'll start to see a white, lighter color when they start drying the track off. You'll see that. That's when the tire damage, if you're running full treads, really starts to play into the thing.
Now, the driver of the race is the guy right behind Reichenbach here. There he is. That is the VW Rabbit, the ISC Racing Services Mason's paint machine of Jeff Grove. Check this out, Doris. He qualified 18th, and he's 4th.
Well, he's loving that rain with that front-wheel drive. You can see that car coming soundly toward the front.
Did you notice he's already making sure those tires finding every bit of water he can?
Little body damage on somebody there. We saw a piece of car laying.
Yeah, laying out in the middle of the track, but everybody getting around and not really on line. And right now, the dream for Jeff Grove looking possibly a reality. We'll be right back to Mid-Ohio. Welcome back. There's Jeff Grove, and we were talking about just an incredible charge he put together from 18th up to 4th. That's a car, I mean, designed for these type of conditions, essentially, but you still got to be able to drive it. Jeff, interesting deal here. He finished only 4th in the Southeastern Division in terms of points, but he did have a win. He just didn't get a lot of races in, and I'll tell you what, this driver-car combination is very, very effective.
Of course, he would like it to downpour right now, and it hasn't been doing that. Although right that section of the racetrack, you see the mist coming out from underneath the tires, so it's real wet there. But I'm seeing drying on different parts of the track. He's not wanting that to happen, I guarantee it.
Out of the carousel onto the front straight. Now, these cars, they look at him. There he is. He's really going after water.
Yeah, he's over there trying to get into some puddles and cool those tires down. He doesn't really need to do that so much quite yet because we don't see that white line reminiscent of the car drying the tracks.
Now, the other interesting thing is take a look here. look at how wide those fender flares are. Normally in the dry, the wheels go right out to those flares. He's running a very narrow tire, looking for any opportunity he can.
The narrow tire digs through the water and gets down to the asphalt better. That's a smart move if that's in case. You see a car pulling off the racetrack here, ducks into the pit out area, get off the track.
A little bit further back in the pack here. I think that is number 33. That's Gary Whitman, and he's being chased by 58. I think that's Dan Huntsman.
And there is that Spitfire that's pulling off. I think it's the 65 car, Chris Christenberry, that's he's gotten off the racetrack now.
That's a tough break for Chris. He was considered by some of the publications to be one of the front runners. This is the battle for 10th, 11th, and 12th. Currently held 10th is by Whitman, and the yellow midget right there. And sitting back in 12th, number 75, Paul Stoltz, another of those Fiat X19s. And right in the middle of them is Dan Huntsman.
We're still very early into this race, and the track is drying for sure. We don't have any weather around us right now. A little breeze blowing should actually help dry the track. Right now, here's the pass setup down in brake zone.
Yeah, there's Dan Huntsman. He's going to take a run at Whitman and see if that's the pass for 10th. No, Whitman shut the door.
Yeah, I didn't know if Whitman knew he was there or not. I thought he was going to cut in front of him, but he didn't.
Not quite enough there for Huntsman, not able to pull the pass off. But boy, he's probably going to take a look down at the end of the S's. Not enough there.
That's always a risky place to try to make a pass. It normally results in a wreck down there. Here now into madness. They come in, both of them kind of on a pseudo rain line. You see two tires on the asphalt, two on the concrete, up over the top of the hill where you normally get loose. This part right here looks pretty dry to me, Greg.
That's what I was saying. The normal racing line now really seems to be drying up pretty well. And that's good news if you're running on slick tires. And here's one of those cars. That's Lona Bradbury. She's one that took the risk a little bit to put on some dry tires and hope the track dried out. And I mean, she doesn't seem to be having much problem at all running on the racing line.
Now, you know, full treads are good for standing water and puddles, and you don't see standing water here. You don't see very much puddles either that you couldn't avoid by just going out a little bit. So I think Lona will be coming now faster per lap. Some of the guys on the full treads will start probably slowing up soon.
And she doesn't seem to be having any problem anywhere at this stage right now. So Lona continuing to put in a great run here. 5th in the Northeastern Division this year in the B&Z Racing Austin Healey Sprite. And these cars are really it's fascinating. For years, it was strictly the old British Roadsters. To bring more life to the class, they started to open it up a little bit to allow the Datsun 510s and the Spiders and certainly the VWs, and it's really paying off.
Right, you're looking at these two 510s right now. They're running in 5th and 6th position. And like I said, these guys are sitting in there where it's nice and dry with some windshield wipers. Now they don't even have to use the wipers anymore. So
yeah, it's
this
number
class
80.
has gotten a lot bigger.
80 Kevin Dennis right there and being chased by the guy who qualified 3rd, Jeff Winter, in the Rally Sport Datsun 510. And boy, I remember the days when this used to be the GTU division in Trans Am, the under
2.5.
Boy, they put on some great racing back then as well, as these guys are doing right here in G production at the Runoffs. Currently the margin from 1st to 2nd for almost 5 seconds, but Prather's coming on. We'll be right back. Back to Mid-Ohio for the G production category national championship runoff. There's number 27, your leader, Fritz Costley. The Fiat X19 coming up through some traffic now. We caught him at the right spot. He ought to be able to get both of them down the front straight here, I would think.
And got a friendly point by the Bug-Eye Sprite right there. You saw that. Yeah, he's going to get inside the 510 now. Down in the brake zone, no problem.
Boy, in these conditions, obviously, he has done, just to say, an absolutely superb job. But it looks, too, like he is just working his way back into the standard dry line, not worrying so much about rain at this point and just driving the car. You know, one thing about the Runoffs here, as it is national amateur competition, a lot of this is done with not a lot of hands on deck, if you will. Oftentimes the driver serves as his own crew and maybe has one person helping. And Sandy Heng, such is the case with our leader.
Well, this is Marty Kapanowski. This is his friend, crew member, and whole crew staff. This is exciting. This is your first runoff, and you're in the lead.
Yeah, I didn't hear the question, but I think you asked me about us being our first runoffs, and we're just busting. You know, just it's been a good morning, and we got out there in the nick of time, and Fritz did well right off the bat.
Now, I know you're on a full wet setup, not intermediates. How could this play into the end of the race here? Can he hold that lead?
Well, right off the bat, the track was a little slick. If you go, I'm going to just flash this while he goes by here. Track was a little slick, and I think he got a good good
You're the only crew member. We know that.
I think he got a good start, a good lead, and we hope he can hold it as the track starts to dry up.
Well, and you know something else we want to tell you about Fritz and Marty. Marty is holding the sign, taking the times. He's also set up the car. You can see he's got a scruffy beard. They've been working hard on it. Fritz is a supervisor for Ford Motor Company at Dearborn, and these two have been tinkering on that Fiat for 12 years trying to get here.
Well, that's what it's all about. I mean, you spend the time in the garage at night to try and get ready for this. That's the racing. We're watching number 42, Bill Wetzel, and this is an unbelievable story. He is racing right now. Number 30, Jeff Winter, that is for the 6th spot. Why is it amazing? Wetzel started 29th driving that Datsun special. He didn't get a time in the qualifying, caught out by that rain you were talking about, Dorsey. He was way in the back, but he is clearly awfully quick.
Boy, these guys put on a good show right now for the last half a lap. Have run through every corner side by side. No contact, not yet anyway, giving each other just enough room. Good racing.
It's tremendous racing. Now he's going to take a run at number 80, Kevin Dennis. If he gets by Kevin, that would put him up into the top 5. And, well, it's just a great drive, and that's what this is all about. Sandy was talking about the lack of crew and how you spend time, and you were there, Dorsey, when you started, you know, working on a car under the midnight lamps out in the garage, just trying to get it to happen here. And then you come here, and it's just kind of a story that makes the Runoffs often so special.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, these are all older cars, you know. You got a pair of 510s with that Datsun 1600 Roadster right in the center of them. All these guys really showing what they got here in the rain, racing each other pretty hard. Now, in the old days, you know, these were different class cars. Nowadays, all in the same class, they're quite competitive with each other.
Well, you can see it's definitely starting to get light out there, and everybody on rain tires has got to be worrying a little bit. I was noticing earlier that already Ken Prather as well is hunting for wet patches on the track.
Oh, here it comes. Good move right there.
He squared it up, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think he's got enough to get up on the inside of that 510. 510 with the bigger motor right there of the two cars, but not quite as good a handle.
So the battle continues here as Bill Wetzel tries to crack the top 5 here in Mid-Ohio. Jeep production and the Valvoline Runoffs continue. Ohio, and the race for the lead is now afoot. There is your leader, 27, Fritz Costley, but Kemp Prather has been taking care of those tires, and boy, did he get a launch out of the keyhole.
Well, that's what he does. He drives those straightaways with that car real good. This is a 3-time national champion, picking on a guy who hasn't won one before. Back's first time to the Runoffs, but the MG's going to be fast on the straightaway, no question about it. Right now, what they have to do is Fritz has got to really go to work in these corners and try to get back by while he can.
Boy, Prather is, what's the line you say? It handles well on the straights. Boy, that thing is really, really good.
Yeah.
Now, it's been a while for Ken. He's got 3 championships. The last was 95. And he'd really like to add another one here. And that car, I'll tell you, if you get up close to that machine, it is meticulous.
Yeah, it's as clean as, you know, that car is a historic car, and it's in perfect, you know, perfect condition. It's absolutely a beautiful car.
One of our great speed shots here. Some of the field streaming through. There is your leader now. There is Costley. There was number 98, and I was talking about him. Kind of an interesting story there as well. Kevin Gilbert doing a nice job, but it's the car that has 3 gold medals it's earned over the course of the years as well. Ooh, and right there, wiggle from that Datsun 510 as Costley trying to come up, figure a way by. Look at that, totally dry on the normal line right in there.
Now that's surprising now, because the MG seems to be, you know, with Kent Prather, it seems to be up to the task of running through the corners well too. You saw him right there up against the pit wall, trying to get some water on the tires. That car you're talking about before, the Alfa Romeo, is a gorgeous, beautiful race car.
It really is. Tom Mankin had such success with that. When he got out of it, he sold it to Kevin, who's bringing it on. Now there's Mark Webber, and I'll tell you what, this guy is an amazing story. He's one of the world's great sports car racing photographers, as it says. Oh, caught the curb.
Keep going, buddy.
Keep going. Straighten it out. Nobody coming.
Don't stay there long.
Boy, he got away with it if he can get going again. But talk about a guy who has a very busy weekend. Mark Webber, aside from taking pictures and getting paid to do that all weekend and traveling to Trans Ams and the like, is a very avid club racer. And he is a very busy person, not just in terms of his normal work, but in terms of traveling the country. And you know what? He's got a little bit of a history with Dorsey Schrader, and another famous driver. Dorsey talked to him earlier.
When you come to the Runoffs, this van, Big Red 2.5, and this car, the Red 25, are synonymous with one thing, and that is Mark Webber. Now, Mark, you've been coming here a long time. You can't lie to me. I know. I went to driver's school with you along with Bobby Rahal back in 1971, and we've always had an argument, who's the oldest, who's going to last longest. Well, Rahal, he's wimped. It's down to you and me.
Well, I know I'm the oldest, not by much, but by just a little bit, and I'm the toughest, so I'm going to be around when you're just thinking about it.
Well, it's kind of a bit unfair because you're running this car on Friday in G production, then you're going to put this motor in that car, run it again in F production, and I am only talking about it. You're getting 2 races up on me.
Well, that's true. You got an earlier start at the runoff, so I had to make up for lost time and run 2 in 1 year. This is, I believe, the 8th time I've done it, and this should be races number 347 and 348 of my club racing career, and I think I've enjoyed every one of them.
So it's fair to say you're overdue. You're going to win this one?
I'm overdue, but I'm not sure I'm eligible for the Rookie of the Year award any longer.
I tell you, he also takes some of the most amazing pictures of sports car racing, and boy, he loves his racing, even when it involves moments like this.
Right here in turn 1, Mark gets it in there, up in here, a little engine misfire, so he's trying to carry a lot of speed in the corner. Gets halfway through under the bridge, back end kicks out. Now that's the pit out curbing. He gets high center on that, bumps up over the top. This is the only tenuous spot right here. He's on the track out, and I was wanting him to get in gear and get going so he didn't get clobbered, which luckily he got out of there.
And as you point out, when he's done with this race, he parks the car and they start tearing that engine out, putting another one in, and he'll be back out for the F production race later in the weekend. Meanwhile, here is your current top 5. Back at Mid-Ohio for the Valvoline Runoffs in the G Production National Championship run. Kent Prather, once he got to the front, Dorsey, and you know, he's been watching after those tires much earlier than Costley. I saw Kent diving over, looking for puddles, looking for any dampness he can. He's really taking good care of those rain tires.
Yeah, we're not yet halfway through this race, though, and he better start searching for some water because we haven't had any downfall of precipitation at all, and it's drying very quickly. So you'll see Kent now start going all over the racetrack looking pretty strange as he tries to find somewhere he can get those tires cooled down.
Well, every lap for the last 6 or 7, I've watched him, and coming out of the carousel onto that pit straight, he's gone all the way to the wall. There you see Costley in the background. So Prather is definitely starting to open up the margin. But look at this battle, and this is our man Grove here, number 73, and he is duking it out with number 30, Jeff Winter. Now, Winter, as I said, qualified 3rd, Grove 18. And Grove has gone around he's brought number 42, Bill Wessel, who qualified 29th along for the pack. This is just a superb battle and some great stories. These guys from so deep in the pack coming on this strong.
Well, it's obvious that Jeff Winter, 3rd place qualifier on that Datsun 510, that car favors the dry conditions. As the track dries, he's coming forward. The Volkswagen now under hard pressure from the 42. Bill Wessel gets inside. Oh, well, it's real tight through there. They gave each other room, but I'll tell you what, that's a pretty hard place. Watch now.
I'll tell you, coming on behind them is number 24, John Snow, another of the X19s, qualified 17, joining this battle.
John Snow had trouble with the car early in the week with engine misfire. He worked real hard to get that thing up and running, and it looks like he's got it going good.
Oh! Wessel was trying to go around the outside of Grove. Grove didn't see him there. Wessel lost all his momentum. He cut to the other side. He never saw Snow coming on from his left. These guys, I mean, it is door to door. Somehow they're avoiding contact, and there Wessel finally gets by Grove.
Wessel's car is loose coming off these corners. Watch the VW tries to work to the inside now. Oh, Wessel up over the top of the curbing. The Volkswagen with the better run, I'm sure. I don't know about the power situation. We'll know in a minute.
Looks like that knot might go to Wessel. Hey, they look pretty even, though, really, don't they?
Not too bad. I mean, the Volkswagen definitely had a better run as the Nissan was up on top of the curbing. Actually, it wasn't a Nissan when that was built. It was a Datsun, so I'm going to call it a Datsun.
Problem is, the drier the track gets now. Oh, he's off. Too much speed in.
But if he can just keep his wits about him, he's going to pop right back in. Ooh, almost popped right in the side of the VW.
You know, that was a great piece of driving by Wessel once he got off track, because I think he realized Grove was going right to the apex at the top of the S's, and if he did hop on it, he'd have clipped him. He controlled it on the grass.
Well, that's where he went off. It's a real downhill slope on the grass, so you usually get sucked right down there on the bottom, so he did a real good job of keeping it up on top.
Now, we talked about those real skinny tires that Grove is running on that Rabbit, the skinny reins. As the track dries and that contact patch becomes all the more important, that's going to hurt him, I would think, in grip in the corners, and everybody else should really start to come good.
Yeah, I think that's why. Oh, boy, traffic. That's threading the needle. I tell you what, that was close. That car, you're right, will start to fall backwards when it dries up right now.
Well, look at Wessel working the outside of Snow. Snow tucks right in behind Grove at the exit of the carousel onto the main straight.
I wonder if Wessel's disconnected the sway bars on the 42. I see it when it's starting to build some lateral grip in the corner. It really rolls. Watch the body roll in relation to the rear suspension. And really lays over, so he might have the sway bars disconnected.
Here goes Snow, by the way. Boy, did he get a good run out of one, and Wessel wants to follow him through. Grove defends. Wessel ducks to the inside, looking at the chicane. Grove covers that. Or does he? Nice piece of driving by Wessel. Around the outside in the chicane.
All that roll. Oh, there's the trouble.
It's gone.
And around he goes.
Just too much. So Snow, Wessel, Grove, what a great battle they're putting on. And again, the 18th qualifier, number 73, Grove is up now into 5th. It's the stellar performance there, and John Snow up from 17th now sits in the 6th spot. We'll be right back with more of coverage of the 2001 SCCA Valvoline Runoffs. Will continue Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, with the Formula 500 National Championship Runoff. The small Formula machines, extremely exciting racing at Mid-Ohio. Tune in Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Formula 500 National Championship Runoff. There's your leader, Kent Prather, and he has started to open up a fairly substantial lead. Sandy Hank, he's now almost 13 seconds clear of second place. And you said earlier that a lot of people thought this might be the weekend. How about the person you're with?
Well, if you look at his times, you can see that they've been getting faster. He had one a little bit slower. I am with Kathy, his wife, one of his primary supporters. And before the race, everyone was teasing Kent, weren't they?
Oh, sure, because he won in the rain in '95, and they all accuse us of doing rain dances, but we don't. It had been fine. It had been nice and dry for us. But it's fine. We're doing good. If the rain tires will hold out.
If the rain tires will hold out.
If the rain tires will hold out.
Okay, that's Kathy Prather.
Well, thanks, Sandy. And it is now, we're about 3/4 of the way through. There's Kent. And he's doing what we were talking about. He's looking for any little bit of water he can find out there. And I'm not so sure that it's necessarily just raw talent or whatever in the rain in this situation. He certainly got it. But Kent, it's just experience. He's been here before, whether it was Atlanta or Mid-Ohio, he knows what he needs to do in the wet.
And luckily, it's very, very cool being an early morning race this morning. You know, if it were being in the middle of summer and you had that rain, it would be totally dry on the racetrack by now. But the cool weather and so forth is keeping it just moist enough to keep those tires underneath the car.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we're talking about how dry the track is getting, and it certainly appears to be, but Prather's best qualifying time, around 1:45. His last lap was 2 minutes even, so that's still a 15-second discrepancy. But I wonder if that isn't perhaps that the rain tires are starting to get rooted up a little bit on the dry. That'll affect grip and speed as well.
We'll see. As you saw Sandy hang there showing that the lap times as they progressively drop. That will continue now, because even though his tires will start to go off, the track will become drier and drier, and the lap times will start dropping. And of course, that subsequently hurts the tires even more.
5 to go, as you see, and Kent Prather continues to stretch that margin over 27. Fritz Kosley. Third, it's been a kind of a quiet race for number 82, Tom Reichenbach. But everybody trying to figure out the magic that Prather has when the conditions become a little bit adverse. And it's just immense experience. And we talked about it, meticulous car preparation. That makes a huge difference. Look at him look for the water.
Yeah, I think Prather's a good shot for 5 laps to go. I think he'll be okay. But I'll tell you what it feels like when the tires start to go off. When these tires start going off, it feels like you have the beginning symptoms of a flat rear tire. The back end of the car starts steering more than the front starts steering. And you feel it when you get on the throttle in the middle of the corner thing. It just feels like you got a flat tire, and you have to really stay on top of it so you don't have a spin right in the center of the corner. You see it right there. It's actually a good view of the back of the car moving around right in the middle of the corner. You see the back start to wag the tail. And that's the first indications that you're getting a lot of roll on the treads of those tires.
Saw him look for the water, then glance over to the pit wall and look for the sign from his wife. And boy, this is starting to heat up here as well. And Reichenbach now has moved. That is a pass. There's something wrong with second spot. That's Fritz Kostley there. The red Fiat X19, that last lap, he went from second to fourth. Reichenbach is now second, and 30, Jeff Winter, the Datsun 510 right there, is now third. So Kostley is dropping back, and I wonder if, because Dorsey, I did not really notice him at all in those early laps when it started to dry, looking after those rain tires, and I wonder if they just finally have given up the ghost.
Well, I think Reichenbach and Winter are clearly set up to run in the dry for sure, because as it dries, those two cars have regained their speed. The 27, which was so good in the rain, is now slowing up.
So the medal podium starting to change up just a little bit. Prather continues to be up front, but now it's Reichenbach, and actually Kostley has dropped back to fourth. And there's the battle for the lead. And you can see actually that orange Datsun is Winter, and he's out front. This is Prather and Reichenbach like last year battling for second. Reichenbach down the inside. And Prather, obviously, the tire's not working for him anymore, although he's going to try and get back in front. Oh, brave move by Ken Prather. A lot of speed in. Oh, and he might make it work. Reichenbach going to try and swing around. And we understand, Dorsey, that Reichenbach maybe had started with sort of an intermediate hand groove slick. So he's going to be coming good as this race gets down into its last lap.
Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. As the racetrack's dried out. Prather under big fire right now from Reichenbach. But that man, the orange Datsun, Winter, the fastest car. Oh, they almost got into a big mess right there. Reichenbach just I think, leaned a little bit, not intentionally. But I think he did touch Prather.
You can see a little scuff on Prather's right rear bumper. Let's quickly, Dorsey, so we don't lose much of this battle, go back and take a look at the pass for the lead. Here's Prather, and it's Reichenbach, but look at Winter.
Winter took the big advantage of that as those two cars went side by side coming on the pit straightaway. It let him get the big radius and the big run through the corner. Now up into turn one he goes. And you see it right here. That is Reichenbach working underneath Prather. Winter, with all that speed, comes to the inside of pit straightaway. He's going to smoke him down the pit straightaway.
And it gave him the lead, and Prather tries to defend. Here comes Reichenbach.
No way.
Yeah, Winter says no.
Yeah, he had 10 mile an hour on him because they went side by side.
So we're on the last lap, and boy, talk about deja vu all over again. Prather and Reichenbach, like they were last year, scrapping for second spot. Last year, Prather ended up third. Now he was leading. He's got to drive the widest MGA you can imagine here in his last lap. Winter is gone.
Well, that's
just checked out.
Because these two guys are beating each other up. They're smashing each other through every corner, cutting and thrusting. And Winter is driving away from him. Look here now. The MGA will be quicker at top end more than likely. Not really. Reichenbach got the run off the corner, but here comes the speed. MG to the inside.
It's going to be braking and in, and here Prather, is he going to be brave again?
This is all for silver, I guarantee you that.
Oh, he's diving to the inside. Oh, he's nice save, but that's it.
That's all for that. Good save, good effort, good effort. Of course, Jeff Winter in the meantime is in the next county because of all that.
Yeah, and Reichenbach sits and finds himself now in second spot. There's Winter already working. Look at the margin he's opened
Sure,
up.
these two just, I mean, they absolutely hammered each other for 2 laps in a row and let the Datsun slip away. But that is racing. I mean, what are you going to do?
So Jeff Winter in the Rally Sport Goodyear shot Datsun 510, and he is coming up through the last couple of corners into the carousel. Boy, did he judge this race absolutely beautifully. There's Reichenbach, there's Prather. And Reichenbach, once he got around Prather, you can see he's clearly quicker. But onto the front straight, here he comes. The American flag and the checkered flag is a salute to your G Production National Champion, Jeff Winter. Reichenbach ends up with a second, and Kent Prather, look at him waving. He had a shot at it. He took his best shot with the tires. It didn't quite work, but nonetheless, he ends up with another medal. But up front, Jeff Winter is going to be enjoying this moment for a long, long time. Look at the celebration inside the car. He is going crazy, deservedly so. We'll visit with him when we come back. Well, Sandy Hang, you set up the tire scenario earlier, and Jeff Winter seems to have played it to perfection.
Jeff Winter, Arvada, Colorado. We're talking, you've been coming here for 10 years. You've never been on the podium, and you said, wouldn't it be nice to get the checkered flag or be on the podium, and then you get the checker?
I didn't think I had a chance, you know. We thought we made the right choice on the tires, but
was so wet, we dropped back. I said, well, you know, we got to be patient about this. And who knew? It came back.
Who knew?
Yes, it did. Well, some people thought I could do it, and I appreciated their confidence, but it's always nice to get this one on your belt.
I know you want to say a special thanks and hello to your mother, Lois. You were telling me before the race she just had open heart surgery and she'd be watching this recovering at home.
She will. I love you, hon. I'm glad you made it through. You're my biggest fan. Couldn't have done it without you. I'm thinking about you.
And this one is for her, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
And here is your winner, Jeff Winter from Arvada, Colorado. And there is a huge contingent of Coloradans here to celebrate with him.
Well, Sandy, I don't know if you can see it, but when he took the checker, the celebration inside the car let you know just how much this meant to him. He's going to grab that checkered flag, a very special one, Dorsey, and be able to drive around and display that with the American flag on top. This is such an incredible moment for the people that win it.
That's one of the nice things the SCCA does in the runoffs that they used to do when I started driving, is give you that checkered flag, and that lap is so special.
Now, of course, Tom Reichenbach, he fell back as well, but Guy Hobbs, he's been in that scenario before, and he's back on the podium.
Job coming back onto the podium and saved it all for the last lap with a great finish.
Yeah, I could see that Kent's tires were going off, and both Jeff Winter and I made a selection to go with intermediates, and the intermediates seemed to be the choice at the end, but we got caught in a gaggle down here under the bridge, and I was odd man out, so Jeff took off, and I stayed to have a good dice with Kent for a little bit longer. When I saw his tires going off, he was holding on for dear life, and so I tried to put a move on him down in the keyhole, and it seemed to work.
All right, congratulations on getting the silver medal here at the runoffs, and we'll try and get a word with Kent, who just disappeared behind us. So there he is. We'll see if we can get Kent to barge in here. Hey, Kent Prather. This Kent Prather, great battle there at the end.
Well, you know, I got in the lead in the beginning when it was dry, and I was searching for, or when it was wet, and I was searching for wet, and I was able to go pretty good. And those guys just came out of nowhere. That's what this production racing is all about. You know, you go around the corners as fast as you can, get on the drag strip, and those guys qualified faster because they were faster, and the rain was an equalizer at the beginning of the race, so I'm real happy.
Does it remind you of the battle you had last year?
Oh, no, I didn't stand a chance last year. We need more rain. The MGA likes pouring down rain. Then we do good, or pour it perfectly dry. Either one works good.
All right, well, now it is perfectly dry, and we're going to be ready for more racing here at the runoffs, but congratulations on that bronze medal.
Thank you very much. Those Goodyear tires held up for a really long time.
Go enjoy.
Thank you.
I love Tom Reichenbach. That car was wide. But as he said, I mean, Winter read that situation when they came onto the front straight beautifully, knew Reichenbach was going after Prather, swung wide, then cut underneath and just dusted him.
Both those guys real smart with picking the intermediates. That was the right tire, without question, for the conditions they had to run in today, and it showed.
Let's take a look at that moment, because I'll tell you what, coming out of the carousel, you know, to be third and then suddenly go right to the lead, that was just a brilliant move by Winter. There he is.
Sure, they're side by side right there. That gives Winter the big radius and the run down the straightaway. Now it gets a bit tenuous right here in turn one, as Winter doesn't have a lot of room. Prather kind of pinches him over there right there. Oh, they could have had a big wreck, but it didn't go that way. That's how you win a national championship right there.
And Winter, as soon as Reichenbach started going after Prather, Winter was able to just check out, win his national championship. But let's head down once again to Sandy Hang. And Sandy, you got a couple more guys talking.
Oh, I'm with Fritz Costley. What a great run, leading the race. This is your first runoffs, and you come away with the fourth. Not bad.
Not bad. I'm happy with it. Would have preferred a first, but I was on a full wet setup, and it just didn't last. Didn't rain long enough.
So you think that was the difference, the tires?
What was the difference? The tires, plus I stayed on my wet line too long. The track dried, and I didn't adjust my line soon enough.
Well, fourth place finish, though. Take it. It's a good run for you. That's Fritz Costley. Guys?
It's a good point. Your debut shot at the runoffs to end up just one spot shy of the podium is not too bad at all. There is Mr. Winter celebrating on his victory lap. Let's take a look now at the provisional top 10 here. Winter wins it. Reichenbach second, Prather third, Costley in fourth. But let's not forget that battle. John Snow up from 17th, Grove up from 18th, Wessel from 29th. There's some just incredible drives that unfolded.
Yeah, that's exactly what you see when you get that rain race after a dry qualifying, is you get different types of cars in these classes that really respond well to different circumstances.
And Guy Hobbs just radios up and informs us this is the first win for Nissan/Datsun in this class in quite some time. So a very special moment for them as well. And there's a shot you can see the line itself virtually dry at this stage. And some drivers would have preferred that right from the start, but we heard I can't pray they're saying, oh, man, give me some wet weather, and it would have perhaps been a very different outcome. But that's the nature of the runoffs, isn't it?
It is indeed, and you just get what you take, and you do the best you can, and that's why it looked like it did today.
So just a great drive by Jeff Winter. He is your G Production National Champion here at the 38th running of the Valvoline Runoffs, an event that, regardless of weather, draws an incredible crowd, and they are the purest. They love the road racing. Now, remember, the next race from the Valvoline Runoffs will be the Formula 500 National Championship event, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, or excuse me, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on Speed Vision. So make sure you tune in for that, as well as all the races Speed Vision will be bringing you from the Runoffs. And if you miss it, well, speedvision.com. You can find out on the internet. For Dorsey Schrader, Guy Hobbs, and Sandy Hank, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks for joining us here. We'll see you next time on Speed Vision.